Hello everyone, Burb here. I'm finally done with my Aquarius Umas. It took me till the end of the wire, but that is mostly because I started testing other things for various videos, doing a frontrunner guide when I've never done frontrunners before, and of course this is dirt, so none of us had any parents, let's be perfectly honest. This is the first dirt CM. So today I'd like to go through my 3 Umas I'm bringing as well as my building process. So I tested a lot of things going through this CM, and I'd like to go over it. So let's begin. Throughout the course of the entire month, I had 20 good passable Umas. This is out of probably close to 100 runs. I did a bunch of testing back and forth, various roles that I've never done before. The ones at the end ended up becoming a lot better than the ones at the start because I could use the ones at the start as parents for the ones at the end. Typical stuff. First thing that was very readily apparent is that Late Surger Digiton possibly is the easiest character to build like ever. She comes with everything you need, and the first run I did literally was just a ridiculous mile S, had every single skill. I have everything blocking, but it's basically lead the charge, Uma stand, stuff like that's on the bottom. So I had a ready-made Uma in about 35 minutes. Kept doing other digital runs and was like, there is diminishing returns with this. So I put her aside. She was the first Uma that I built. This was sort of, I guess, the meta passable Uma. And honestly, this character would have been perfectly fine to run all on her own. Taiki Pace was super easy as well. Her ultimate, if you don't know, if it late procs, it is incredible because you get pretty much a full shooting for victory if you pass into fourth or pass back from second. But even if it procs in the earliest bit, she's basically giving about a second worth of acceleration. So it's like you're running an end closer. I think I said that before. And I had a couple good Taikis. There was a fast learner Taiki, and then eventually there's one of these ones, this early mile S one. But again, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I picked like full mile Maven. It turns out mile Maven gets clipped at the start of the race. But other than that, I eventually ended up making my first team member, which was Taiki Shuttle. Head on plus no stopping me as sort of high roll for just win with no stopping me. Shooting for victory is basically straightaway spurt, so you have acceleration every time, and then I just pump the speed up with left-handed Lone Wolf. So she is my Lone Wolf character. She has pretty much the highest speed with Lights of Vaudeville that you can pretty much get on a pace chaser with all the straight skills, and that's sort of the play. Is you hit shooting for victory, you then accelerate really fast up the uphill, and then you hope that you have a straight skill or Lights of Vaudeville to carry you to the end. Because you need to essentially beat the late surger that's also running, so you need to supplement with some straight skills. All right, and then I tried building front runners and everything went downhill. It was a learning process. Before this Marzensky, that was like fine. There was a couple El Frontor passes, and they were okay, but I could never get the groundwork thing to work. I think this is the closest one where I had groundwork, taking the lead, firm conditions, and I used OPP as my third one, and of course it worked 45% of the time, but even the best skill in the game couldn't save this El Condor Pasa. That combined with the fact that you didn't hit stamina goals means that she was just stupidly slow when she had normal mood, and it just wasn't good enough, even with the wit, even with the power. This El Condor Pasa didn't hit groundwork, and of course this Marzensky that everyone, if you know, has roughly 300 power, does not get killed by the uphill, but just doesn't have enough acceleration, even if you proc like a perfect angling and scheming. It's just, there is no VPP, there's angling and scheming only, and then Marzensky's power is only 300, so you'd need like 1,000 power without Victoria Porplancha or any other sort of acceleration option to essentially give this a chance. So it was a learning experience because I'd never ran frontrunners before. This is kind of what built into that frontrunner guide. I hope you enjoyed that, but I will not be running a frontrunner this CM as per usual. So did not get one that was good enough, and basically, whoever, all you frontrunner mains, I don't understand how you do it because you miss one thing and then you're very sad. Next thing, biggest thing was, innate skills on characters really help, especially with dirt and there's not being very many options. The difference between Gold City and Auguri Cap and the El Condor Pasa Fantasy and Digiton was the fact that Digiton and El Condor Pasa Fantasy just give you gold skills. So you're not having to swap back into really bad skill cards to try and supplement that. And yes, the Digiton card came out like halfway through the CM, but this was plenty before it. And even though these ones are pretty good, I believe one of them was Cinema Oguri, yep, this middle one was Cinema Oguri, where I had just a bunch of late race speed skills. It was just getting cleared by forward march and lead the charge. And having to run like 20, 30 Oguri cap runs just for this, for a late surger of all things, when there's just two really great options out there that I had on my account, it just didn't really make sense. I built a couple of gold cities. This was probably the best one I got. Like I said, the problem with this one is just very, very low wit and not much mid race. And then of course there's no late race. I think it's straight adept and nothing else. So the whole, on your left's going to proc in 6th, and there's none of these have pump iron. This one has pump iron. So you're just on your left and nothing else in forward arch. You're gambling in the backside of the pack, and you have no late race speed skills to try to push you forward. So things like that I had to consider. I built various gold cities, but honestly, her dirt aptitude is just a little bit tough. All right, then I swapped to building end closers. Very quickly, after about 7 straight runs of Sweep Tosho losing me the 50-50, I stopped running this card. I have a 0 LB. I was also trying to high roll end closers by borrowing Ayabe SSR, so I did not want to use Sweep Tosho as my borrow. It seemed really bad because I could also, if I wasn't using Ayabe, I would just use Matekane Futikaru speed, and that's just a better stat output than Sweep Tosho for the high roll anyways. So there's a psychological aspect to this, in that this was basically procking in junior year every time, and if it procced, it was like, all right, let's start it. And then if it didn't proc, and it's the same thing that happened in Gemini, it's like, all right, I guess my run is dead. I mean, I have parents that could get it, but its odds were like sub 15% after that. So it was just, I was getting this procking in junior year, it was failing, and then I was like, it just feels bad to run an entire run. So I started running Hishi Amazon, not because it's better, but because of 2 reasons. One of them, it just doesn't, it's less transparent. There's no event that gives you it. It's just a hint. So every time you see the little exclamation point, you're like, ooh, it's a 1 in 7. So throughout the entirety of the run, you're like, it's never dead, because you can still just randomly get spurt from Hishi Amazon or through any of the ups that have that Hishi Amazon has. And, it's just a nicer playstyle for me than just trying to 50-50 Sweep Tosho. And so I just benched Sweep Tosho, and had the other reason was basically you could run double power build. And it's incredibly risky, and I would learn some things about this, because this requires going Rikoless, because essentially, because when I was running 2 speed cards and 2 power cards in Rico, I was training too much, and I couldn't get the skill points required to get all the good skills, including Daring Strike. So I swapped over to my 3 speed, 2 power deck, ran Rikoless, and eventually I did get a character, but it was actually Agnes Digital. In addition, I had to start swapping to 3 speed because Digital's speed growth is only 7% instead of 20%. This Digital is incredible. Don't let the stamina fool you. It is 5 points less than is absolutely required for a great mood, and her speed's not capped, but all that on an end closer does not matter. She also, funnily enough, doesn't have Daring Strike even. So end closers literally just need spurt. Get spurt, get a secondary acceleration that's strong, like lead the charge or ig power, and then just late race speed skills. And that's what this character does. This character is insane. Even the low wit doesn't matter. The lower wit doesn't matter. The lack of mid race doesn't matter. She has enough mid race with pro curve and some end closer corners and stuff like that, and top pick. It's just enough to basically catch up to the late surger pack. And then you're still in the back of the pack, so all your stuff essentially, actually there's 0 things that are, you have a chance at pump iron for the positioning, but it doesn't matter. Straightaway spurt will get you to max speed, and then I just have one, freaking OMG the final sprint. It's just that strong. So she just goes from the end to the start with mile S and end closer coefficient, and she's good. With this, I sort of learned, let me get it some water, sorry. Sorry about that, my voice is dying. This is the Sinma Oguri. This is sort of what I figured out, that like, hey, late surge Zen closers, late race speed skills are just really fun to watch, but also they are kind of good. This has like 5 late race speed skills, and even though this is because, updrafters and on your left have the 5, 6, 7, 8 future burp here. Correction, it's 6th through 9th position requirement. And so some of you know that this was one of the El Condor passes that I had with a bunch of accelerations. There were 7 accelerations, but there was 0 late race skills, and this Oguri was doing better than this El Condor Pasa. So I knew I had to remake this because ECP, if Condor's Fury procs late, it's dumb. And because it's a pass ultimate, it's completely possible. So even though she had the higher speed with the Winter Runner and Winter Runner, but it just wasn't enough. There was no straight skills at all, except mile straights, which would normally proc in the first half. So I kind of remade it. So this is the rule of squares. There's 7 excels and 1 late race speed skill, possibly like 0.5. Instead, I just built her again and made team member 3. And this has less skills, but they're more golds, so they hit harder. But they have, home stretch haste is 1, straightaway depth is 2, and then there should be 1 more. Those 2? Is that it? I'm missing 1. Nope, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, just the fact that there's 2 like late race speed skills. That's it. That's all I needed. And even though this only has 5 excels instead of 7 excels, it's perfectly fine. Like, it hits max speed, and when it hits max speed, it just has that little extra oomph to get back into the front of the pack. So just that minor adjustment of just getting a singular or 2 late race speed skills is all you really needed. Like, this one wins like 15% more than this one. Like, El Condor Pasa was winning like 1 out of every 100. This one actually, I didn't test it 100 times, but it ran 1 race out of all of them. And then this one, she won 7, I think, out of the 40 that I tried in rear matches. So it's just a lot better. Also, for mention, there's a lot more power on this one, which really helps, is that, hey, there's 200 power and another 50 wit, which helps a lot just in the stats. All right, so winning ticket, I couldn't build her. I'm sorry. The problem with winning ticket is that, yes, I tried a couple times, but Dirt C really only works on certain characters. Narita Taishin, Super Creek, Mummy, Measure Orion, and of course Saiyan Sky. For some reason I'm blanking. The reason is they have specific things that other Umas don't have: Encroaching Shadow, and then the full ultimate that is twice the strength or 3 times the strength. These are all twice the strength because they're excels of any other character. And basically, you are losing a full guaranteed excel from going from Dirt A to Dirt C. And essentially having a double pump iron will counteract that. Having a double give money a hug will counteract that. And then Encroaching Shadow is basically 2.5 straightaway spurts. So it's the same thing. And then if you have the gamble to get to Dirt B, well, then you're just better than everyone. That's the whole point of running these characters and running them with Dirt C. Ticket, on the other hand, has an ultimate that procs on the final straight. And if you're anywhere close to the front of the pack, which is when you're winning, you get 0 value because it's eaten up by Excel. That's the problem. So this ticket to win just procs here. So I'm basically running vanilla late surger with no ultimate with Dirt G and Mile F. And after about 20 runs, I couldn't do it. So I will probably try a couple more times because I have nothing to lose at this point, but it's unlikely. Ticket ain't going to the dirt track this time, guys. I'm sorry. One more thing that I figured out, and this was kind of the El Condor Pasa final build. Is this the one that was right? 1, 2. Yep, it was. If you can afford to not use Rico, you can high roll so much, and Rico's not a bad card. It really isn't. And I do say that she's a bad card a lot, mostly to meme a bit, but she gives some things that help a lot, mostly with your chain events is the first one, and scenario link is the second one. If you can overcome those 2 things, it's almost better to run any other card. And the reason is that if you don't need stamina, the card doesn't give you enough compared to a full card. And so this was my way of getting around Rico, and it actually worked out with this El Condor Pasa incredibly well, is I use Rice Shower plus Fuku for the scenario link, but the big thing is that they both, you can kill their events. So it's essentially like you're running Rico, but you don't have any of the mood ups, but in exchange you have a full speed card and a full power card. So just something to consider that I was having success with at the very tail end of this CM. You really need, you need the cards if you're getting them. The only thing that you can really do if you're trying Rikoless in a free-to-play build is run Fuku Wit, even though it's right-handed. Fuku Wit's actually incredible. She gives you scenario link, and then you can just, fill up your deck with the other ones, and you have the scenario link requirement. Essentially, scenario link is practically required, at least one, because otherwise your trainings just don't get high enough and you start having Unity Cup problems. So by running 2 scenario link cards, I never had to worry about Unity Cup, and I got basically a full free training out of everything. I was level 2 by turn 5. So that's the power of scenario link. I may do a better in-depth guide into Rico towards the tail end right before Trackblazer releases, but other than that, hey, that was what I was getting success. So here is the team. We have the original Taiki Shuttle that was built in the first couple days. I used this deck, standard speed wit Rico, with just a plethora of random sparks, because I was running skill monkey parrots. And yep, that's Taiki Shuttle's been winning. She's been perfectly fine. There's no reason for me to remake her. We were running the Agnes Digital End Closer that is just high roll, just hit, sort of that thing. We ended up running that double power deck. This was ridiculously finicky. I do not suggest this build whatsoever because 0 scenario link. That was the trouble, and I didn't realize that until this was built, and I started running El Condor Pasa Fantasies again. But scenario link it's very, very, very good. And so El Condor Pasa, I think, is the most refined build that I tried. Luckily, I have Rice Shower 3LB, but just being able to go Rikoless and not have to worry about the Unity Cup still, it's quite nice. This hits stamina requirements. These are the 3 people 3 Umas I am bringing to the CM, and I am very scared because I'm running 3 backliners, and sometimes they just don't hit. So what do I do now? I'm done with Unity Cup, pretty much the entire scenario. My anti-frustration plan says basically if I have passable Umas, I stop building for the current CM, start building for the next CM. But the problem is that Trackblazer is releasing after this CM, and I could just keep remaking stuff, and I did consider that, but I think I'm just going to take a break from the game, not in content creation, but more of just trying to be fully competitive with it and just enjoy it and just use it as my walking thing again, but also just to test stuff for future videos. I need to make the Pisces Cup overview. I probably will need to make a couple Umas for Pisces, even if they are never going to be used because they are being built in Unity Cup. So tomorrow or the next day should have the Pisces Cup overview. I am going to leave you with a demonstration of just a clip from a recent room match that I found kind of funny, but I hope you enjoyed. I did ramble a little bit on this, so I apologize for that, but I'm a little bit sick coming off of vacation. So without that, good luck building your Umas if you're still building it, and good luck in the, what is this cup? Aquarius Cup. Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. Burb out.
の馬娘たちが挑みます。現在1番人気は2大マイル戦覇者7番大気シャトル。実力は負けていません。2番人気2大マイル戦覇者ウォッカ。注目の2番エルコンドルパサー。2枠2番での出走。
気合十分いい顔してますね。
各馬娘ゲートに入って体勢整いました。さあゲートが開いた。各馬娘綺麗なスタートを切りました。
これは一度が熾烈になりそうですね。
芝からダートに入っています。先頭はスマートファルコン。単身で飛ばしていきます。先頭から大きく離されて2番手は7番大気シャトル。少し離れて4番大気シャトル。4番手エアグルー。2馬身差オグリーキャップ。2馬身離れて2番エルコンドルパサー。さらには3番エルコンドルパサー。その後ウォッカ。その内並んでアグネスデジタル。意気揚々と先頭を行きます。スマートファルコン。どうでしょうこの展開。
かかってしまっているかもしれません。息を入れるタイミングがあればいいですが、
各馬娘一段となって団子状態の大混戦。
これだけ見 集していると紛れがありそうですね。
大欅を越え4コーナーへ。7番待機シャトル、ここで抜け出した。先頭は見合ったまま、果たして抜け出すのは誰だ。2番
一着の的は外しません。
さあ内から先頭を伺うのはエアグループ。
コンドル猛撃波。
最終コーナーを回って最初に駆け抜けてきたのは7番待機シャトル。2番エルコンドルパーカー、抜け出した。
良き縄跳び前メガネ。
残り4分、食い下がる7番待機シャトル。2番エルコンドルパーカー、先頭は2番エルコンドルパーカー。これは強い。残り200、2番手争いは7番待機シャトル、4番待機シャトル、勝つのは2番エルコンドルパーカー。見事な走りで勝利を集中に収めました。2番エルコンドルパーカー